Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today on the subject of style, I'm going to give you my essentials for the cooler months of the year because it's certainly arrived here in the UK. The weather is cooling down. The climate is heading towards its more autumnal, even winter-like characteristics. And as the temperature drops, I think it is still entirely possible for the intentionally well-dressed man to remain well-polished, sharply dressed, but at the same time be functional and practical for the environment in which you live. Now, over the years, I have built a wardrobe around the cooler season, which allows me to go through life with poise and bearing, but still being ready for pretty much every situation that I encounter, from the extreme cold to moderate temperatures, but wet as it is today, or everything in between as well. So, with the right essentials, you can get through life looking sharp under any circumstances. So today, I'm going to give you the emphasis today on quick trot through my favorite items for the winter and autumn months. And I'm going to start from the ground up, the footwear. Now, footwear is key, particularly in the winter, because whilst it needs to look good, it still has to be able to cope with the environment that you're setting foot into. So practicality is key. It's all very well having wonderful leather-soled dress shoes, but in the winter months, if you try and walk down a rather icy or wet, slippery pavement, you're going to end up on your arse looking a fool, or maybe even badly injured. So for me, in my footwear wardrobe at this time of year, there's a couple of things, and just two things, which are really essential. Firstly, day-to-day, ordinary walking around, whatever the situation is, whether I'm wearing jeans or chinos, maybe even much better trousers than that. My first choice is a chunky leather boot. Now, when I say chunky, what I mean is robustness of the sole particularly. In the last year, I invested in a pair of Trickers boots, the Malton boot, which has a commando sole, which has a thick, cleated rubber sole, which is perfect for navigating wet, damp, muddy, slippery conditions. And the upper, being quite thick leather, means that it also protects the foot way above the ankle as well. Now, I do favour the brogue appearance of a shoe or boot because I think it adds a certain elegance to the boot, casual, yet still at the same time favouring a traditional style. So for me, a nice big leather boot, chunky boot, but with a very robust sole. Now, of course, that's all well and good for walking around in the daytime. But when it comes to more formal situations, you're going to want to defer to a dress shoe. If you're going to the office, if you're going to an evening event or a cocktail party, chunky boots are great, but not for situations like that. So in situations like that, I opt for a dress shoe, but because it's the winter, I still want the practicality of having a rubber sole. So I opt for a day-night sole. Now, day-night comes in different types, but the one that most people will be familiar with is the composite rubber sole, which has the little sort of dimples, the nipples underneath, which offer traction and stability. Yet it's still quite a low profile sole. So it's entirely usable with a much more formal shoe. My favorite type is actually a oxblood or burgundy brogue, because I think with a day-night sole, this has kind of got you covered for everything, from fairly nice suits to, again, quite casual outfits if the need requires you to do so. Now, moving up the body, now that we've got the footwear sorted, your trousers below the waist. In the winter months, you would think, well, not much really changes. I'm going to stick to what I normally wear. And unfortunately, most gentlemen wear jeans, denim jeans in this modern world. But for me, I eschewed the denim trouser a long time ago, except from when I'm working outdoors in the yard. They are work clothes after all. So for me in the winter months, my trousers of choice actually lean very much towards the traditional. I rather like corduroy trousers. Now corduroy is that sort of thick velvety cotton which is designed in linear ribs. Incidentally, those ribs are called wales, and they can come in different thickness. You can have quite thick wales, you can have quite slim wales or ribs on your trousers. If you want to go a little more casual, go for the thicker. If you want to go a little more formal, go for the slimmer wales on your corduroy trousers. But they're thick, they're very warm. They're also commonly worn in very bright colours. So if you're somebody who enjoys injecting a bit of passion in regards to the colour of your trousers, corduroy is a great way to go. Now, when you go back to the classics, many gentlemen will opt for flannel trousers. Again, flannel is another form of cotton, just weaved in a different way, and it is thick, it is corseting, and they make excellent trousers. Grey flannel slacks are the archetypical trousers for the gentleman who's practical yet also wants to cut a dash. Now if you want to go a little bit more robust, cavalry twill is a great way to go. Now cavalry twill, again another form of cotton, but with a much more robust crossed weaving. Initially designed for trousers worn by the British cavalry in military days, but actually they make a nice thick trouser. Pick a cavalry twill with a thick weight and it's going to be great. It is the gentleman's equivalent of the denim jeans, basically. A good, practical, wear for everything pair of trousers, which is robust and is going to last you a long time. Now, as we move up the body, we're getting closer to the skin. Let's go with the shirts. Now, the shirts, well, again, as we've just talked about flannel, it's a great place to remain on that topic because flannel shirts, again, thick, corseting, quite fluffy cotton against the skin. It feels wonderful, it's warm. More importantly, it's insulating. It traps the air in those thicker fibres and it gives you that layer of insulation. It keeps you nice and warm. Also, same sort of thing really, but a little more perhaps refined is the chambray shirt. Again, just another version of the same sort of thing, but chambray shirts, very popular with the outdoorsman, very, again, warm, very insulating, and a great way to go. And t-shirts. Now you might think, is there a place for the classic t-shirt in the intentionally well-dressed man's wardrobe? Well, yes, there is, sir. And I'm wearing one now, but I'm wearing it as a layering choice. I don't think t-shirts are meant to be ever worn as outerwear solely on their own. For me, the t-shirt is something which layers under another garment, gives us that insulating layer. Cotton against the skin feels lovely, nice and warming. It's definitely the way to go. And you know, I've got a big drawer full of t-shirts in my home. The simple fact is, I just don't wear them as outerwear. I wear them as layering. Now, one level out from the t-shirt, or whatever else you're wearing, the shirt, is for me where winter really begins. Knitwear. For me, I love my knitwear, whether I'm indoors or outdoors, facing the rigours of Mother Nature. When I'm indoors, or when I'm in a sort of quite casual environment with friends or family, I opt for a shawl-collared cardigan in absolutely 100% British wool. Of course, I'm British, so I'm choosing British wool. Wherever you're from, choose your own local wool. But for me, a shawl-collared cardigan is just this relaxing, calming outfit. I've got a couple of them, 100% wool, really thick and warm, and when I put those on, I know that I feel comfortable and I'm in a very happy place. Woolen cardigans equal my comfort zone in my home, for me certainly, or when you're out and about. Woolly sweaters are just as good as well. So I do like a crew neck sweater with a shirt underneath. It allows me to keep warm, 100% wool, always the good stuff. Never go for anything synthetic, because basically synthetic means plastic or some other version of a plastic derivative. And for me, it has to be wool for the insulating qualities, and just basically it's the best thing to have next to your skin. The beauty of wool comes in all sorts of different colours, different styles. Choose your own. I've just ordered a new sort of woolly pulley, as it's called, sort of old throwback to the British military sweater. I'm looking forward to that arriving. 100% wool with reinforced shoulders and elbows, and it will take me through the winter season fully protected from the elements. Now, if you want to get a little bit more stylish, and I'm also dabbling with the idea of investing in one of these this year, is a quite patterned, either a slip, so a sort of V-neck armless sweater, or a nice armless cardigan style, a waistcoat style cardigan with, you see these in Fair Isle wool, but they're available in all other different types. I just think maybe worn under a jacket of some kind, it adds an injection of colour and pattern at a time of year where our clothing becomes a lot more sombre and monochromatic. Winter often brings dark, dreary colours, and something which is warm and cheerful is perfect to lighten the day to a degree. Now, the mid layer may be what we're wearing when it's not super cold outside, a bit like today. It's not very, very cold, but certainly, you can't just wear a single layer of clothing. At this time of year, there's a few things I always reach for. Now, the classic, the gentleman's favourite, is the tweed sports jacket. Tweed, of course, is wool, very robust wool, and it's great for the outdoors. It's often seen in sort of earth tone colours, so it feels and looks very natural when you see it. It's very robust, it's very tough, it's very rugged. A tweed jacket can last you a lifetime in the right circumstances, and of course you can wear it across the broadest range of situations. A tweed jacket is one of the few items in your wardrobe that will marry readily with a pair of denim jeans, chinos, flannel slacks, cavalry twill trousers. It can be worn with a t-shirt underneath, a shirt, open collar, or even a shirt with a tie, and it's going to straddle the line between formal and casual in a way that very few structured jackets could ever hope to achieve. So a tweed jacket is a must for a gentleman in their wardrobe. And the other alternative for a day like that would be what I'm wearing now. Basically a utility or field jacket. These are becoming very, very popular. I was in Savile Row just 2 weeks ago, and in the windows of all the tailoring houses, they're all now offering some form of field jacket or utility jacket or chore jacket, as they're increasingly being called, but basically a multi-purpose jacket which is kind of unstructured and wearable in a variety of situations. Pretty much everything you can wear the tweed jacket as a situation, you could substitute a utility jacket and it's going to be equally wearable. For me, I'm wearing this kind of canvas utility jacket today in a navy blue, very practical, got a structured collar to it, but quite casual, with a pair of chinos as I'm wearing now. It allows me, I could walk down the pub, walk in and have a beer. I'm going to look entirely appropriate as I can, just out for a walk in the countryside, whatever the situation that faces you. So, moving outwards, the winter we often think of outerwear and the clothing which is protection from the elements. Now for me, the ultimate protection is always going to be the classic overcoat. Somewhat maligned in recent years, the overcoat seems to have fallen out of fashion and has been replaced by performance garments. Gore-Tex materials and various other things, which whilst being more water resistant, they simply do not provide the elegance or the protection from the cold that a really good overcoat does. Or puffer jackets, down jackets. They make you look like the Marshmallow Man, whereas an overcoat provides an unmistakable silhouette of elegance, which will never go out of fashion. So an overcoat for me, the characteristics, it will be below the knee in length, really giving you protection. It needs to be of a thick material. It almost feels like a blanket, heavy weight in your hands. And it is styled in a very classical way. If it's single-breasted, they often have a hidden placket, so the buttons are hidden behind a storm flap. Or if it's a double-breasted garment, a greatcoat style garment, it looks quite militaristic, course, its origins are within the military, but it will absolutely keep you protected and warm even at the coldest time of year. Now, I bought one last year, sized up. I went a size larger than my usual size because I just like to snuggle down into that coat and feel it all around me like, you know, a quilt when I'm lying in bed feeling warm and snuggly. I feel the same way in that overcoat. Never overlook the qualities of a traditional overcoat. But for me, it's kind of not entirely practical in my outdoor scenario. So for me, I need something which can brave the woodland and the countryside. And there can be but one choice. And that is, of course, for me, the waxed cotton jacket, which is sort of shorthand really for the Barber jacket. I'm a Barber guy. I nail my colours to that brand, absolutely. Of course, there are others out there. You can have the Schoffel ptarmigan jacket or whatever you like, but for me, the Barber jacket in one of the classic styles. So I own a Barber Beaufort, relatively recent into my collection, only purchased it earlier this year, at the end of last winter. So it's entering its first true season of being tested by me, but already I can tell that thick, waxed sort of canvas cotton jacket, it's perfect for those cold, wet, rainy days where you need protection. And finally, for the outerwear, there'll be occasions where it's not really cold. Also, it's not appropriate to wear maybe that wax cotton field jacket in a city environment. You're going to need a raincoat, or as other people call it, the trench coat. Now, the trench coat can see back in time, it came into our our horizon in the First World War, because thick greatcoats were restrictive for movement, and actually soldiers fighting in the trenches, particularly the officers, they found them difficult to live with. So they commissioned their own tailors to make a lighter but water-resistant garment. And of course, the trench coat is what fell out of that commissioning requirement. Still worn by the gentleman today, the trench coat is a lighter sort of version of an overcoat, but made with a waterproof characteristic to its material. So thinner and lighter, often made of gabardine and other water-resistant materials. So I think every gentleman should have a trench coat. I've got a few. I've got some in navy blue, I've got some in the sort of more beige colour, the more traditional raincoat colour. Cover me for those situations where it's maybe wet and windy, but not entirely chilly. So, only a few more accessories to talk about. Firstly, you're going to need protection for your extremities, and that's the hands. The hands, for me, gloves. 2 pairs of gloves are in my winter essentials. Unlined, so leather gloves, but unlined. I kind of favour a glove manufacturer called Southcombe, which is not far away from where I live, and they make these amazing unlined leather gloves, which give me great dexterity on the fingers. But at the same time, because they're unlined, they fit very close to the hand. They don't hinder my mobility or movement whatsoever, but they give me the protection. And if you want to then scale it up to the depths of the winter where you need an insulated glove, well, you just need to find another leather glove which has got some form of insulating. You can have rabbit fur, you can have sort of cashmere lining. If you want to go full, expense, you can go to one of the traditional brands like Dent's and maybe even have a peccary leather glove. So that's leather made from the peccary pig of South America, which has amazing water resistance and insulating characteristics, and you can have them lined with a variety of different materials, and that's a glove that can last you a lifetime. But I think a gentleman needs at least an unlined leather glove and a lined leather glove, and he's ready for everything that the cooler months can throw at him. And finally, the last extremity, the top of the head. Now, for me, there's 2 choices. You can either go for the sort of casual look, which is a flat cap or a baker boy cap, so much more refined than that hideous baseball cap, the ubiquitous baseball cap, which has kind of ensconced its way into every modern gentleman's wardrobe. Go flat cap, go stylish. That's what I would say. And if the flat cap is a little too casual for your situation, why not throw your hat in the ring, as they say, and go for a traditional dress hat. Now you've got a good selection to choose from. If you want to go sort of modernist, you can go for something a little more fedora-like. Indiana Jones's style, do love that. Or if you want to go a little more old-fashioned, you could go something like a Homburg or a trilby. Quite a fan of a trilby myself. Or if you're really classic, the bowler hat. There is nothing more practical and more stylish than the bowler, if you've got the courage and the confidence to carry it off. Now, one last thing, a scarf. I think a gentleman needs a little collection of scarves, be they wool, cashmere or whatever. The only advice I would give you when it comes to scarves, stay away from synthetic materials, or you will forever be picking the fluff off the garments that you wear underneath that scarf. But for me, over the years, I have curated a small collection of nicely coloured scarves which add a complementary appearance to any outer garment and brings a little touch of colour to a time of year when things are starting to be drained of their natural colour characteristic. So there we go, folks. Those were my thoughts on building a stylish winter wardrobe. Let me know if I've missed something out or if there's something that you wear in the winter which you think we should be aware of. Drop me a comment in the comment section below or send me an email. Send me a question via email. I'd love to hear from you. You can support the channel by buying me a coffee, become a patron, join the Chap's Guide family as a patron, and you will benefit from the additional video content that I make each and every week. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe for more. So until the next time, take care, and I'll see you again very soon.